Hi, I'm Kristen and this is Scrap Fabric Love, and today I'm going to be showing you a fuse and stitch crumb piecing method. So it's the method I used to make these brightly colored pieces of crumb fabric behind me. So there's the pink one, yellow one, and the orange one. Don't worry, you'll see them closer up in a minute.
If you haven't heard the term crumbs, it basically means little bits and pieces of fabric, usually cut off when you're trying to work on another pattern. So it's the crumbs that fall off the cookie of your fabric.
Now I like all kinds of crumb piecing, including the slow kind where you're piecing two pieces right sides together. You press, you trim, and then you repeat, and you come up with something cool and original. I love that kind of crumb piecing, and you'll see a lot of it on this channel. But today's version is just a different take on it. So it's a little bit faster in some ways because you don't have to do that trimming. And it's also a little bit faster because you don't need to do so many stop and press in between because we're not sewing things right side together. What I'm doing is putting all my crumbs, whatever shape they are, in a layout on a fusible. So I'm using a single-sided flexible fusible interfacing. So it's not the web kind where it's sticky on both sides. It's only sticky on one side, very soft. There's lots of brands of it. I will put a few down in the video description box, but it should be fairly easy to find. So it's got the little glue dots. I'll put a close-up picture on the screen so you can see on one side, and as you can see, it's very flexible. So it's not like my favorite steamer seam that I used for collage quilting. This is a different thing altogether. So let me show you how I do it, and then I'll come back at the end and show you what I'm going to do with this crumb pieced fabric at the end.
So I tend to cut my fusible the same side as my largest wool pressing mat, and then I put a kind of non-stick mat underneath. I've got a Millward's like applique one, but you could use any silicone baking sheet or anything like that. I'll put some links in the description. So I make that the same size as my pressing mat, and then I get my scraps. So I lay it with the glue side up. And then I've got my bundle of oranges. I may or may not use them all, but we'll see how it looks when it's next to each other. And I'm just trying to fill this whole space. And when I'm ready to press it down, I'm going to put a pressing cloth on top. So I'll show you a kind of sped up version of that, and hopefully you'll get the idea. I'm also going to close up a bit so you can see a bit closer. So for this project, I'm using the word crumbs interchangeably with scraps because you can see some of these are a bit larger, a bit longer. I've got some strips, so you get to define what size you want to use for this. But as you can see, it can be any old shape and you don't need to trim it down. So I started with a fairly big piece in that bottom corner. I kind of tend to work like a jigsaw puzzle, you know, where you do the corners and the outside first, even though there's no set pieces for the outside, and then kind of fill from the middle. But you can come up with your own style with that, right? You could make it far more structured, far more linear. Mine are a bit more kind of haphazard. I'm just fitting things in where they go. And I am overlapping the scraps a little bit so there's no gaps where the fusible is peeking out, but I don't overlap it tons. So I start with maybe bigger pieces and then fill with smaller, strangely shaped pieces. And I tend to go with fairly monochromatic kind of thing. So you can see I'm only using oranges. You could, of course, mix lots of colors, but I tend to do one color per sheet, but sometimes it's a few shades. So there's a few shades of orange here. I tend to go with the less busy prints if I'm using prints, but sometimes I'll throw in something that I just think adds something. So there's a few of those little pieces in this one where it's like a flower and there's like purples and blues and it's slightly different color. You know, it does sort of draw your eye, but I kind of like how it looks. But if you wanted to make it like completely all one color, you could absolutely do that. I'm going to show you an example later on of some of the first ones I did of this where really I was piecing together scraps of all the same fabric. But anyway, I've been getting into doing little sheets like this where I just use one color of crumbs because I already store my crumbs by color, and then fill the sheet up until I'm happy with it. And once I can't see any more fusible, I put that pressing cloth down and follow the instructions on the fusible. So this is sped up, so I am pressing down for several seconds on each spot. This bit does take a little bit, but you want to get it fused as well as you can there. And then there might be a few little bits and pieces where, because it's just not touching the fusible that much, you need to use a pin. So sometimes I have little bits where it's just to fill a gap and I need to pin it. But this is me testing to see if any other bits are going to fall off. But it's all right. And then it's time to take it to the sewing machine. So even though I've tested that, I tend to take it over a little bit slower, slide it off the mat. And sometimes I'll find a few more pieces in doing that maybe need a pin or two just so that they don't slide off while I'm working. I tend to use a coordinating thread, in this case a kind of peachy orange because I had some of those shades in this piece. And what I'm going to be doing is stitching everything from the top with some sort of a stitch that goes back and forth. So you can use a zigzag. I used this kind of like cross-shaped blanket stitch, I guess. It goes back and forth. Here is a close-up so you can see what it looks like. And what I'm doing is lining up the needle right on the raw edge that I can see so that my stitches are going back and forth over the raw edge and the piece that it's sitting on. So you can start stitching anywhere. I generally start at an edge and then go in and try and follow basically as long a path as I can without cutting threads. Sometimes you kind of hit a dead end and you have to cut your thread, and that's fine. Just start again somewhere else. And so I'm just trying to get around every single raw edge that I can see, obviously removing the pins when I get to them. And you don't have to do this bit all in one sitting. So if you kind of get bored of it, you can leave it, come back. I tend to try and stitch down as much of the bigger, longer pieces and as much of the pieces with pins before I take a break so that I know nothing's going to kind of float away or get knocked, and then I have to figure out where that crumb was supposed to go. I told you the earlier iterations of this had less fabric variety. I actually did a video back in 2021 where I was basically just stitching back together all sorts of crumbs from the same fabric. So I would end up with a pieced fabric that just had these sort of zigzag stitch veins in them. So I did quite a few like that. And I used them to make my stuffed owl. There's a free pattern for that on my blog. And I kind of really got into that for a while. Now, I was always using matching thread to make these pieces, but the more I look at them now, kind of in retrospect, they make me think of kintsugi, you know, that Japanese gold repair technique for broken pottery. It might be a fun idea if you were just using all one fabric to use a kind of standout thread, whether it's gold or some other type. Anyway, back to this orange piece. So it does take a little while to do all this stitching, but I think on balance, it probably is faster than making something this size that's completely pieced if you're pressing after adding each crumb. But obviously it's going to get you a different effect and it's going to be a different look, and you're probably going to use it for a different project. But it's always nice to have options for those little crumbs and more than one way to do something. And this is what it looked like on the back, so you can kind of see the path of the threads. I haven't cut my threads there, so you can kind of see how many times I had to break thread and start again. After I've stitched all the raw edges, I like to trim it up just so that the edges are straight and it looks more like a piece of fabric. So here is the finished orange piece. It measures 23.5 by 16, so it's not like a standard fat quarter size or anything like that. But you can see how I've stitched around everything, and because it's overlapped, it's fairly secure, and because it's on that flexible interfacing, it's, you know, it's fairly flexible. You can scrunch it and all of that, right? You know, it's not stiff is my point. So you can use it like regular fabric. So here's another view of the orange, but I also made pink and yellow. The pink one I made on holiday this summer. So it was with my other sewing machine, so you don't need a big fancy one. And this is the pink one that I did on holiday. So very similar stitch, but not exactly the same because it was a different machine. So still just a few shades of pink and obviously a few wilder prints, which you can choose to include or not. It's all just a personal choice there, right? And I haven't bothered to trim all the threads on this one. So you can kind of see you've got, you know, if you didn't have trimmed scraps to start off with, you'll have these little threads, but you can go around and trim those and they won't be there. Now, if you wash it, you might end up with some of that. So just think about the projects you want to use it in and whether or not you care about that. Often I don't, but that's my personal preference, and I know it's not going to be for everyone. So I have seen folk use similar, not exactly this, but similar made fabric like this in items that maybe don't go in the wash, like a a fabric pouch or something like that, or a journal cover, things like that. And here's a yellow one. So you can see I used a mix of sort of mustardy ones and slightly brighter yellows. There's a few pops of other colors in some of the other prints, but not much. So still pretty yellow. So there's the yellow one, and then here is all three of them together.
So you can do lots of things with your new crumb pieced fabric, things I've used it for. So I made another sheet like this that was all kind of blues and teals, which I don't seem to have a photo of the sheet when it was all together. I guess I was too excited to use it, so I didn't take a picture. But I've used different offcuts of that in a number of mini quilts. So I'll show you a couple, some with denim, one where it was like supposed to be the water in like a landscape thing of Loch Lomond, and then another one where I just liked what was left over so much I framed it on its own. I've also used some of the older pieces that I did with the zigzag stitch where the fabrics were even more similar. So look, it was really only either the same fabric or very closely in the same color family. I used one of those that was made of beige in one of my orphan block quilts because I was trying to use up a very small amount of orphan blocks, and so I needed something of some interest in the quilt that was in the same colorway as those orphan blocks, and this beige made fabric fit the bill. So that went into that quilt. And the reason that I'm making the orange one this week is because that is one of the colors that I'm going to be using in the Scrappy Side Quest quilt along. So if you didn't see last week's video, that was the intro, the fabric pool, what the quilt's going to look like, all that stuff. And next week we're doing the orange peel block. So I'm going to be using this orange fabric kind of appropriately for the orange peel blocks. My orange peels are going to be orange. So anyway, so if you haven't heard about the quilt along and you're interested, you still time to join in. You can watch all the videos free on the channel, but if you want the written tutorial, you want the live Q&A sessions, you want to be in for the Scrappy prizes, and you just want to get involved in a fun quilty online community, you need to do that inside Scrap Club, which is my no judgment, beginner friendly quilt community. And all my past quilt alongs are inside there. All of the patterns, templates, everything like that you need. And you can ask all your questions in there as well. So I'll put the link to that in the video description and maybe a code up here somewhere. If you're interested, go check it out. But whether you're going to join and quilt along with us or not, I hope you enjoyed this different crumb quilting technique, and I'd love to see what you make with it. If you like scrap quilting, using up every last bit of beautiful fabric, this might be the channel for you. So if you've not subscribed, I hope you'll consider it, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks so much for spending time with me. Bye.